Miami versus Texas A&M. This is one of my other games. I think this is the second, arguably the first best game of the entire first round. First off, how is this game only the 12 o'clock time slot? I don't know. I don't think Oregon and James Madison should have gotten the prime time slot over this game, especially being at Kyle Field. Imagine Kyle Field versus Miami at night. It would be electric. I don't know how this game got the 12 o'clock time slot. It makes no sense to me, especially being this is arguably the biggest game of the first round. So, anyways, let's get into it. Key to this game, it's quarterbacks. Got to come in, got to be consistent. We've seen a little bit of shakiness from both quarterbacks. Marcel Reed been a little shaky down the stretch. Carson Beck, he's had a little shaky at times for Miami this season. QB play in this game is detrimental for both teams, in my opinion. I think whoever has the better quarterback in this game may win the game. Miami does travel to Kyle Field, like I said, home of the Aggies, going into a hostile environment. You've done it before, but this one's different. This one's different. This is against a rugged SEC team. You know, if you're Texas A&M, you have to get the run game going, just like I was talking about in the past game. It's going to be tough to run the ball to Ruben Bain's side of the field, but you're going to have to establish the run game somehow and keep Miami on their toes. So it'll allow Marcel Reed to be able to sit back there, have those few extra seconds while they're looking at the run, have a cleaner pocket, and deliver. It's going to be another detrimental thing. Got to get Marcel Reed going. That kind of factors into the quarterback play that I was saying. I was super invested to see how Miami's offensive front takes the pass rush of Texas A&M. I think Miami having Francis Mauigoa on your offensive line is alone a massive game changer because I think he is probably arguably the best offensive lineman in the entire country. If you're Texas A&M and you could jump on Carson Beck super quick, as long as if you can get around Mauigoa and jump on Carson Beck super quick, and maybe even force an early turnover, that's usually when you start to see Carson Beck crumble a little bit. It's kind of been a domino effect after that. After his first turnover, they're they're gonna keep coming. That's usually what happens. If he has an early turnover, like in the Louisville game, he threw 4 picks that game. It's a domino effect. It's something in his head. You get in his head, and you can win the game. You know, um, I think I think that if you're Texas A&M, you can control the run game as well. Or you can control a game. I'm sorry, I don't know. You can control the passing game just by getting to Carson Beck, is what I'm saying. If you're Miami, stick to the shorter game. Don't take deep shots as much through the middle of the field. Try and avoid those turnover type situations unless you really have to, which, yeah, you're going to have to keep them on their toes and throw some down the field. Can't throw nothing but these little screen passes. Get Malachi Tony involved. I think that is one way that you do win this game. You get your best player on offense. You get your most explosive player on offense involved in some creative ways. Try and create some different plays that confuses this Texas A&M defense. Try and do that as much as possible. If you're not getting Malachi Tony involved much, that's kind of your main playmaker eliminated. It's going to be tough to make anything happen, especially if this A&M defense is getting to Carson Beck pretty quick. If they're getting to him pretty quick, I think Tony's good enough to extend some plays and make some plays. If you do have to rely on shorter passes, he's good yards after carry, and I think that's big. Got to get Malachi Tony going. Your most explosive player. I think this game kind of comes down to whoever wins the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Does Miami defense have some talent too? They definitely do. This Texas A&M defense also has some talent. You know, although we do talk about Carson Beck having his turnover issues, remember those 4 interceptions were against Louisville. Miami still almost won that game. And that's despite their quarterback throwing 4 interceptions. So Miami has some fight. We've seen it before. They've kind of been in playoff mode ever since that loss. And keys to this game, Miami got to win the turnover battle. Carson Beck, protect the football. Texas A&M. If you're Texas A&M, gotta get to the quarterback. Get to the quarterback. Make them force some turnovers. If you can force some turnovers in this game, I like your chances again. You know, both teams. got to try and win the line of scrimmage. That's crucial here. It's kind of what I have for that game.